Welcome back to another episode of Local Search Tuesdays. This week I'm sharing some awesome tips from the speakers and experts at SMX Munich. A few weeks ago, I was lucky enough to be invited back to speak at SMX Munich. As always, I grabbed my camera and I had some of the speakers and experts share tips to help digital marketers and business owners. I got some amazing tips this time. Check them out.
My best tip to become a better digital marketer is to remember the human. We can be so focused on the creative or the targeting or the placement or this trick or this hack that we forget on the other end of it. We're just trying to create a connection with a real human being. So remember the human at the other end. It'll make everything else so much easier to execute.
If you want to increase conversions and you're thinking about running your next A/B test, instead of just testing buttons, which don't work, try an emotion-based test. An emotion-based test goal is to figure out why people buy from you. What is their real motivation? One of the biggest things that you can do is actually run a test against what are they feeling right now versus what do they want to feel. So before and after, think about the emotions they're feeling, their frustrations, their concerns, how the things that they are challenged with every day. Can you put that into an ad or on a page or in an email and test it versus something that promises a different result, an emotional result? How are they going to feel about themselves? How are other people going to feel about them? That is a very highly successful test, and it's a meaningful one because whether if it increases conversions or doesn't, you will learn from it.
Understand what you're trying to say to your customers and say it to yourself and say it internally and really believe what you're trying to say.
Hey, so my quick tip would be that, and this is something that's come up a lot in a lot of the talks here at SMX Munich, is you should be measuring and reporting on and setting expectations based on brand in SEO. That doesn't necessarily mean that as an SEO you're going to own brand within the company. Obviously that might be great, but not always realistic, not always the right person. But you should be incorporating brand in how you're talking about SEO, and you should be reporting on it. Just start getting people used to associating brand metrics with SEO, because that ultimately is going to be an important part of whether you can succeed or not.
So hello, my tip is I love optimizing in general, whether it's for search or for general life, optimizing trips, optimizing my way back home, but I also end up over-optimizing almost all the time. So my tip is optimize whatever you can apart from search, but be careful with over-optimizing, because I end up doing that way more often than I would want to.
Great. So the local search tip that I want to share with you guys today is something that is I think, maybe a misperception of a thing I said a while ago, like several years ago, which is that directories don't matter, right? Directories were huge back in the very early days of local search when Greg Gifford and I myself got started in our careers. You had to be on Yelp and Yellow Pages and City Search and Super Pages and fill in the blank pages, right? And that as the traffic and authority of those directories declined, it became less and less important to be on them. But instead of directories going away entirely, the thing that's taken their place is vertical directories. So depending on the most important directories in your industry that rank well and that draw customers in, it is still absolutely critical to have not just a listing, not just a mention of your name, address, and phone, but a really well-optimized presence with strong photos, with review responses, with a full description of the products or services or attributes of your business. And those we see in our research at Near Media, we see those really, really mattering to customers and playing an important role in their decision-making process about which business they want to transact with.
All right, so my tip is that you need to start to think about different kinds of videos for different platforms. The stuff that's going to work on LinkedIn probably isn't going to work that well on YouTube. The stuff that's going to work on TikTok maybe isn't not going to work that well on your website. And you need to start to think about the individual platforms and creating stuff for those. So Instagram, for example, you can think about shots that really show the behind the scenes of your company and what's going on. Lots of visual stuff, lots of color. For YouTube, you can think about trying to solve problems and finding out the topics that are really aligned with what people are interested in finding out about. For your website, think about things that help to support pages. And LinkedIn, have things that are driven from the individuals at your company, really talking about their own experiences.
When we're considering the vast amount of change in the search industry, especially when it comes to seeing traffic declining, but in reality, usage and consumption of content is increasing like we've never seen before, which means that your content needs to be found. And the best way to do that without spending so much more money creating new content is repurposing the existing content that you have. Take what you've already got, and you can be smart with it and use AI to automate certain workflows and processes, but use that in a way to get your content out to as many different places as possible with loads of different mediums and formats. That's something that if you're not repurposing your content, I recommend you start right now.
So my tip to make digital marketing better for you in 2025 and beyond, consolidate your content. Find all of your old keyword-specific content, merge it into topics. You can increase your traffic easily by up to 50% in 12 months.
I would think about all the things that aren't SEO that affect how people search and experience your brand and make decisions. Think about the quality of your packaging. Think about the phrasing that your customer support team use when people phone up. Think about your returns policy. Think about your opening hours. Think about all these things that influence whether people might choose and select you whilst they're searching and making decisions. Because those are the things that Google and ChatGPT and this new wave of search engines are looking to evaluate. They don't care how many links you have. They don't need another article on your blog, but they do care if your proposition is a good fit for a given audience. So do the hard work to prove that's the case and win out over your competitors.
Hey friends, I've got a dirty little secret for you. Broad match, actual spend, impressions, clicks, conversions, a lot of that ends up being phrase match or even exact match when you actually look at the search terms report. So before you throw away broad match or you decide that you refuse to test it, check your search terms report with a 1 or 2 broad match keyword tests. See how much your close variants are going, and you might actually find that you get better deals on your exact match inventory, your phrase match inventory by leaning into broad match. Obviously, be clever, leverage smart bidding alongside it, use your negatives as appropriate, but don't fear broad match, fear the fear.
One tip to get better performance from your Google Ads is to actually search the keywords that are converting for you, see what the SERP looks like, and make sure that your ad is well positioned on the SERP. For instance, you might find that all of your competitors are running price discounts on their ads. Well, if you do that, you're going to look and sound exactly like they do. So instead, flip your offer into a percentage off or another value prop that's going to appeal to your target customer and make comparisons between you and everybody else on the SERP look a little bit more in your favor. One of the easiest ways to get better performance out of your ads and make your clients happier is to be able to surface that information, provide a relevant or justifiable alternative, and keep evolving as your competitors change what they're doing.
I'm at SMX today, and I'm pleased to have just out of a session where I disclose best practices to surface in AI. As you may not know, VSS Bing is powering not only Bing.com, VSS is powering my solution that is the Bing Annex is powering not only advertising, multimedia, news, and everything. It's powering all experiences at Bing, but beyond Bing, DuckDuckGo, Yahoo, and some people as ChatGPT and Meta are also leveraging some of this solution to power some of their experiences. So clearly, if you rank well at Bing, you can be surfacing in many other places. The way to be indexed at Bing, easy. Have a good quality sitemaps. Adopt IndexNow protocol to help you getting the latest and the most relevant content index on your sites. It's a one-way, easy way to be adopted, helping you to get your content indexed at Bing. Then this is all about having great quality content, matching customer intent, and you will be ranking well and do well at Bing.
Hi everybody, my tip is about using Google Mum to advance your SEO strategy and plan for the future of AI overviews and AI mode as they evolve over time. So Google Mum stands for multi-step unified model or multi-touch unified model, but it basically just means Google's trying to understand the context of a query and put it in a journey model that they're creating and building over time. And so to do that, they use what I call journey filters that you click on in a search result. And the more those get clicked, the more you tell Google about the journey that you're on. And then when you do searches that aren't in a filter, they kind of learn about what you want next as that's related to the larger journey. And they map all that and try and use that as a model to decrease the cost of any kind of AI processing that they're doing when you ask a question. So once they have the model, they don't have to process so hard like it's new. They put it into this model and say, okay, we know kind of where you're going. We've seen something like this before. So that decreases the cost of the AI processing at the same time as it increases the value of the search results and their ability to target and potentially personalize ads and monetization that they do, getting you into the different micro moments of Google. So I want to know, I want to go, I want to buy. So they're either getting you into Merchant Center, Maps, YouTube and YouTube Universe with music and stuff like that, or just regular knowledge. And they've got monetization strategies for all of it. So they can increase the money to cover the higher cost of the AI. That's it.
So one thing that I've been playing with a lot the last weeks and that people really should be learning about is Model Context Protocol. It's a protocol to get AI to understand the other tools you have, basically to connect them with human readable language. So you can talk to your AI and then, for instance, edit, write, delete posts in your WordPress sites, or create users, or add categories to posts, or redirect links, or, well, do a whole lot of these things. MCP, it's a fantastic protocol. You should learn about it and play with it and see what it can do.
Awesome tips, right? That's definitely all the time we have left for this week's episode. You know what that means? Put your hand on the screen right here. We totally just high-fived because you learned something awesome. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week for another episode of Local Search Tuesdays.